Hello, it's Paul Adams, and it's Friday, March 15th, 2024, and we've got a potpourri of topics to delve into today, and I hope my mind can keep track of all of them. May the Lord be here as we discuss some of the current events and also what's in store for Christians around the world. I'm going to start off with one story that really hit me hard. This is a story of a Muslim brother who had a dream of children up in heaven, up in the clouds, cheering, "We won, we won, we won." This could not better describe what's going to happen at the rapture. Children under the age of accountability are going to be raptured throughout the world, and they're going to be up there in heaven with the Lord Jesus Christ and God the Father. Of course, Christians are going to be raptured also. And the world is going to suddenly realize that there's something terribly wrong with its condition. And I predict that the rich are going to throw their riches in the garbage. They're going to feel like they are completely worthless to them. All this wealth they've amassed means now nothing because they know that the proverbial poop is about to hit the proverbial fan. So, that was one very interesting dream by a Muslim brother, seeing children up in heaven yelling, "We won, we won." And primarily these were Palestinian children, but I'm sure there were other children up there also. With regards to Palestine, I just finished a 24-hour fast last Sunday on behalf of the Palestinian people. I hope their hearts, their tender hearts, are subdued and calmed, and I know they have nothing to look forward to in life at this point in time, as far as a home, as far as an education, uh, and I hope the Lord calms them and reassures them. If there's one piece of advice I could give to the leaders of Hamas, it would be this: release the hostages with no conditions forthwith and see what happens next. Do not use the hostages as bargaining chips. Just let them go. Let them go. You've got everything to win and nothing to lose. Okay? Now, as far as Israel goes, we know quite well that Israel has been a signatory to the Geneva Convention, and we have proof of this. One proviso it has included in its signatures is that the red shield of David be used in rescuing people in harm's way, wounded, etc., during a war, as opposed to using the Red Cross. And we have evidence of that also. Now, the Geneva Convention, further on in its fourth rendition, specifies that even non-signatory countries are now subject to the rules and protocols of that convention. In other words, even if a country says, well, we were never signatories to that convention, we do not agree with the terms, they are still under that umbrella. Okay? And the international community has now purview over any country that goes rogue. And we can emphasize here that Israel has gone rogue and then some. And so it needs to be reined in. It needs to be reined in. Now, what is also interesting is that a lot of the intellectuals, the erudite in the Jewish community, uh, people such as Jonathan Pollard, the former spy who was sentenced in the U.S. to jail for 30 years, people such as him believe that the international legal framework has no merit at all. And I'll let you listen to some of this here in his own words.
Similarly, I've asked myself why did Israel ever agree to sign on with regards to the International Criminal Court, there's no reason, which was obviously only going to be used as one more tool and weapon against Israel. And your prediction, as we see, has been realized, of course. So it's very difficult to understand. Some people seem to be. It's. I think it's like a drug addict. Some people are addicted to the drug of international legitimacy and recognition and legality, or call it what you will. And they will tell you. I've heard this from certain people that we have to be present and active in these bodies, etc., because we need international legitimacy and what have you. We have no international legitimacy. But we've gone that route for so many years, and look around, look at what you see. Do you see any vestiges of legitimacy are being denied as we speak? Both by the ICC and in the UN and the World Court. It's the same thing. None of these organizations really have legitimacy in the strict sense of the word, because their judges are appointed by their governments, basically to rule not on matters of law, but on matters of politics or geopolitics. Is this a valid legal organization? No. It's a pale example of a legal system, judicial system, that's basically set up in the guise of legality to implement their country's geopolitical agendas.
They believe that there is no point in waiting for the international community, the ICC, the ICJ, to enact any kind of resolution in order for peace to take place. So they shrug their shoulders and they say, we'll do what we want to do. And when it comes to things like the Palestinian state, they have plans for Jordan, okay? They have a chess game all laid out that they want to implement to create a Palestinian state out of Jordan, a country, that is, not just a territory, a Palestinian country, and then provoke it so that it attacks Israel, and then Israel's recourse would be to completely annihilate that nation, that, well, let's call it government, and take over.
They just literally, we're talking about massive land grabs. Correct. Entirely illegal, and they just occupy huge swaths of territory. Right, and want retroactive legalization of their theft. So this was the connection, and what the Bedouins haven't stolen from areas like training bases like Se'elim, with the army and police just looking the other way while these guys haul out truckloads of weapons, which then are combined with the truckloads of weapons that are coming across the Arava from Jordan. Until that point in time, when total Jewish control of the Temple Mount can be reestablished, hopefully in our lifetime. The Jordanians won't like it, but who cares? What are they going to do? How do you envisage the future of this artificial invention of the British known as Jordan? A bloody one. As we said, it's inevitable that it will become some kind of Islamic. It'll become an Islamist terror state, but terror state. On a war footing, constant war against Israel. Correct. They will slaughter the Hashemites, and then they will declare themselves to be Palestine with a revanchist philosophy towards Israel and the territories. And that country will immediately be recognized by everybody, including the United States, kind of like a Taliban state, except 2.0. And as I said, then we will have a target that we can eliminate in a conventional war and be done with it. We can't necessarily do that now because, well, we're Jews and we don't slaughter people.
Right. And Mickey Mouse was born on February 32nd.
And I am very proud of that fact. So we'll slaughter them in terms of the state they form and just eliminate it. To remember what Amalek has done to you, says our Holy Bible, and we do remember, and we are fighting our brave troops and combatants who are now in Gaza or around Gaza and in all other regions in Israel are joining this chain of Jewish heroes.
And so, might makes right for them. There is no point in discussing international law, no point in any kind of discussion with regards to humanitarian law. That is out of the question. There's absolutely no room for that kind of discussion for them. They may pretend that they are interested in having a seat at the United Nations. They may pretend that they are interested in negotiating peace with the Palestinians. They may, make as if they are all about saving lives and all of this, but it's all theater. I'm going to go a step further here because I like to go deep into the woods and try and piece the puzzle together the best I know how. It appears to me as though the Masonic Order has orchestrated this panoramic production, this extravaganza, if you will, this huge theatrical production that culminates with the establishment of the Antichrist, with the revealing of this new savior on steroids who's going to save the world. Okay? And so they are using their chess pieces very carefully. Both Hamas and Israel are part of this chess game. In fact, we could even go as far as to conclude that because Israel at one time funded Hamas in order to bring it into existence and create a divide in the Palestinian authorities' wielding of power in Palestine, that Hamas and Israel are two wings of the same bird, basically. And they coordinate their efforts under the umbrella of the Masonic Order. And even perhaps other orders, I'm not quite sure, okay? But The October 7th incursion is a startling example of how the defenses of a country were completely neglected. There was no oversight of the fence, no oversight of the cameras. Nobody jumped to the occasion.
We're not going to invade. The responsibility of a government is to protect the people, and clearly that responsibility wasn't met.
Nobody was there from the IDF to protect the kibbutzim, which were armed outposts of the Israeli state. Okay, it's a known fact. So what happened there? And then we have the lies, which are eventually now expunged. We now find out that it's the IDF that fired upon its own people to create a greater casualty number, a greater death rate. So much more has been lied about. They have this knack for lying. In fact, the Mossad has its motto. The Mossad's motto is, by way of deception, thou shalt do war, right? And I imagine every other country has its own chess game it's playing and its own, little tricks up its sleeve that it pulls. But if Hamas is the real deal, let's say Hamas is the real deal, and there's no ties with Israel by way of complicity, it's not complicit with a greater agenda. Hamas, I would say, if you're going to be the paragon of virtue and civility and humanity, just release all the hostages now without any preconditions, simply out of your own goodwill, the goodness of your heart, and let them go. Just let them go. Okay, that would be one test to see if you are real. Because the longer you hold these hostages, the more Bibi pats you on your back, really, because he likes to have this schism, this division, this polemic. He likes to protract this war further into other regions because he wants to what? He wants to stay out of jail because there are court cases piling up against him for fraud and all kinds of other grievances, other crimes, and he and his wife could end up in jail for the rest of their lives. Okay? So, you want to prove to the world that you're the real deal? Release the hostages. Let's see you do that. Now, we could get into the inaction of all the Arab states in the region who claim they are for Palestinians, they claim they are for the sanctity of life, and this and that and the other, and they haven't lifted a finger. I don't know, maybe you're part of the Masonic Kabuki theater. Maybe that's part of your role in this chess game. You're just sitting back. You don't want to get involved. You don't want to get your hands dirty. I mean, all your infrastructure is out in the open, in the desert, by way of refineries, wells, and that's what you rely on to sustain your civilization, okay? Your country, your culture. You have no other industries that are, going to save your hide once your oil and gas goes up in smoke, right? Right. Other players in the picture that are sitting back eating popcorn while all this is happening include Russia and China. And they seem to be just lingering on, just hoping that this will work itself out somehow, they'll accept the U.S. veto at the UN without any debate. Just let the U.S. aid and abet in crimes against humanity. Let it be a participant, open participant. Yeah, this is this is, let me put it in biblical terms. This is the Sodom and Gomorrah we are into right now, where there is no justice, there is no respect for international law, and the only law that we can appeal to at this point in time is heavenly law. And by heavenly law, I mean God's justice. And if you want to read a little bit into this, you will realize that God is rather irate right about now. He is furious. His fury is white hot. And he's about to unleash hell on earth. Okay? And he's going to start off by taking people off the planet by way of a rapture. I mean, what better way to create havoc, right? Because it seems like Lucifer isn't very good at it. He just doesn't have the expertise. You know, you can't, his aliens just can't abduct enough people all at once to create this havoc, this chaos, anarchy. So God is going to do it. He's going to show him how it's done. In the blink of an eye, people are going to be raptured. And I had a dream about my own rapture. Okay? I'm not going to get into it. And I got a website that has over 200 dreams of people who have had raptures, including children who have had rapture dreams. Enough said. I hope this is my last video. Please don't subscribe. God bless.